Hi, hello, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Jacklyn, and in today's video we are going to be reading the highest versus the lowest rated book on my physical TBR. So I have my TBR cart sitting here. I have gone through on the Fable app and added all of these books to a shelf of its own called my physical TBR. I currently have 29 books on my physical TBR, so not too many, which I'm quite happy with that actually. I feel like maybe I can go book shopping. Anyone else? 29 books on here, and I have gone through these and checked all the ratings. I thought that you could filter it so that the highest rating was at the top, but maybe that's on Goodreads. Anyway, I have gone through all the books on my TBR, so they're all here. Wonderful. I have looked at all the ratings and I've figured out which one is the highest rated and which one is the lowest rated, and that is what we're going to be reading in today's video. We're going to be starting with the lowest rated book on my TBR because I'm hoping to maybe end on a high. Excuse the construction happening outside. Maybe end on a high, have the highest rated, hopefully be the highest rated for me. Maybe we get a 5-star in this video. Out of the 29 books that I have on my physical TBR, this book has popped up several times and I still have not gotten around to it. It is literally screaming at me saying, read me, and I have never even had an inkling to pick it up. Today I do not have a choice. Winning by a landslide in all of my books on my physical TBR, the highest rated is The Final Empire by Brandon Sanderson. This is book 1 in the Mistborn series. It was rated 4.47 stars on Fable, which is just crazy. That is such a high rating. Let me check how many people have rated this book actually. On Fable, it has 107,000 reviews. It's sold over 10 million copies. And on Goodreads, it has over 1 million ratings, 84,000 reviews, and is rated 4.49 stars. That is wild, especially for that many reviews, as in over 1 million ratings. Over 1 million people have rated this book, and on average is 4.49 stars. That is crazy. That is the winner by a landslide. Looking at our first book that we're going to be reading in this video, the lowest rated on my shelves was The North Wind by Alexandria Warwick. Let's find out the details on this one. Now, on my Fable, it is rated 3.59 stars and it has been reviewed 6,112 times. On Goodreads, it is rated 3.57 stars. It has 28,000 ratings and 4,000 actual reviews. So it's still quite high, 3.5 stars. It's not like down very, very low, but this was the lowest on my physical TBR. And I picked this up because it's actually, I think it is, maybe it's not. I thought it was signed. It is signed. Look at me go. That's why I picked it up, because it's actually signed by the author. I thought that was really, really cool. I don't have very many signed books. I think this is probably the only one, if I'm being completely honest. I've heard nothing about this. I have no idea what it's about, but this is what we're going to be reading first. Let's get into it. Time for a little bit of a reading update. I have started this and gone into it, so I feel like I'm far enough in now that I can give you an accurate synopsis and explanation of where I'm at in the story. I am currently on chapter 13 and on page 123 within this book. I don't 100% know how I feel about it, but I will get to that after I explain to you what the book is about, now that I kind of understand what's going on. I was a little bit confused at the start, but basically we are following a girl named Wren, and we are following the North Wind. The North Wind in this setting is actually a god. He's an immortal being, and he comes to a human town or country. I think it's every few decades. He comes to this place called Edgewood where Wren and her sister live. They are humans, they're mortal, and he takes one female back with him. He takes a female. They're under the impression that he takes a female and sacrifices her so the female dies. What ends up happening is he ends up going for Ren's sister. This isn't a spoiler, I promise. It's on the back of the book. He ends up picking Ren's sister, but they're actually identical twins. Ren ends up tricking him into choosing her and taking her with him instead of her sister. So she saves her sister and gets taken herself. She sacrifices herself. He marries her. So now she is his wife. She's this god's wife, and she's living in his castle in this magical world where she's trying to figure out how to survive and what's going on and who this person is. The North Wind is a god and he's immortal, and his area of expertise is winter and death. Okay, so he controls those elements, I guess. He's in control of those elements. There's also a lot of other stuff going on. He's kind of like a judge, decides people's punishment after they have done something wrong. So that's an interesting aspect in the book as well. They're definitely enemies, like they don't like each other. She thinks that he's this awful, terrible person, and he is not really showing much in the opposite direction of that. He's not really proving her wrong in that sense. Are just getting to know each other. She's getting to know the castle. He's kind of like banning her from going places and doing things and is making her life very, very difficult. But I definitely think that there's some stuff going on in the background where we'll figure out what his motives are and what is going on with him to make us actually understand why he is the way that he is. As for how I'm feeling about the book right now, I'm not loving it, but I'm not disliking it either. I am intrigued to know what's going on. I'm not obsessed with it. I don't think it's like fantastic, but I'm enjoying it enough to keep reading and intrigued to see where the plot is going to go and what's going to happen. I'll keep you updated. Ren is a pretty badass. She's like very straightforward and strong-minded, so I like reading about women like that. Stands on her own 2 feet and is not letting him get away with stuff lightly, so I do like that aspect of it as well. But I definitely think it's leaning more on the romantasy side than fantasy or high fantasy, anything like that. It's definitely leaning on the romance side of things. Finished The North Wind. I literally finished it this morning, so I haven't sat on it heaps, but I think I'm going to give it 3.25 stars, and I did want to talk a little bit about it while we're sitting here because I felt like in my last explanation I didn't really do it justice when I was only 100 pages into the book, but now that I have read it, I feel like I can give you a bit more of a accurate synopsis of what is going on. I liked it a lot more than what I was expecting to. I honestly was not expecting to like this going into it. I don't think I said in my previous explanation when I was talking about it before, I don't think I said that it is a Beauty and the Beast retelling. I don't know if it's a retelling. I would say I guess it's retelling. It's heavily inspired by Beauty and the Beast and also the story of Hades and Persephone. I'm very familiar with Beauty and the Beast, but I honestly have no idea about the story of Hades and Persephone. But I think it was well done. I think it was well executed. The only thing that I find with retellings or heavy inspiration coming from age-old fairy tales and stories, Beauty and the Beast, for example, is that sometimes when you are reading, because you know the story of Beauty and the Beast and you kind of know how it flows and how it's going to end, not that you know exactly how it's going to end or what's going to happen, but you know the general structure of the story. So I feel like it sometimes can take away the intrigue and the excitement of wanting to learn what's going on, and you kind of feel like it's repetitive, even though it's a new story and it's not the same. It feels repetitive in the moment, but I still think that this was well done. I just think it was executed a lot better than what I was thinking it was going to be, and the writing was really quite good. I like the writing style of this author, Alexandria Warwick. I think it was short and concise and to the point, but also wasn't missing anything. It wasn't jumping over things or having gaps and things. There was no plot holes that I could find within the plot. As to the plot, I want to explain that a little bit better for you guys, so that you have an accurate understanding of what's going on in here. You're following Ren, and then the North Wind is the god god. His power revolves around death and the winter season. So he controls winter, or his power brings on winter. And basically where Ren is from in her human world, it has been winter for years and years and years and years. The winter has just not ended. She's a human, so she's mortal, and their mortal land or town is protected by this thing called the Shade. Protects them from things called dark walkers. To me, dark walkers are kind of like zombies. They're not real people, but they aren't dead. And they attack human beings, and they are breaking through this barrier, the Shade. They're breaking through it and attacking people, and people are fighting for their lives, basically. They are also attacking the North Wind. They're trying to like take him down and get rid of him. That is the war scenario that's going on. That's who the North Wind is fighting and who he's trying to control, I guess, within the story. I think it's every century. So once a century, the North Wind or a god will come to this human town, and he will pick out a female. And the townspeople think that the female is a sacrifice. They think that they're taking her, use her as a sacrifice to keep the power within the Shade going, because it runs on human blood. What actually ends up happening is Ren, the girl in the story, the female main character, she ends up getting married to the North Wind. So it's not a sacrifice. She still has to be a sacrifice, I guess. Like, she is put in this situation where she's locked in a castle and she becomes his wife. But then from there, it follows the plot of the Dark Walkers and trying to solve that issue. And there's a lot of other stuff going on in the background that I won't spoil for you. The whole gist of like Beauty and the Beast, obviously, is this beast of a man, this beastly creature, has like no social skills and doesn't understand how to function in normal society. So within his kingdom where she lives, there is this town where normal folk live. Shopkeepers and people of this town obviously are just doing their best to get by. And then, as I mentioned previously, he's kind of like a judge, and he determines where people go after they die if they deserve to be punished. So he is kind of sentencing people to their doom when they have done something awful. Ren kind of plays the role of showing him and explaining to him how to have some empathy and how to understand there's two sides to every story, or people have reasoning as to why they do certain things. He's like slowly starting to learn how to have some empathy and show up for other people rather than just writing them off straight away. The plot does get interesting. I felt like the plot was consistent, even though it focused a lot more on the romance. I would say this is more a romantasy than just a normal fantasy. There's not too much spice in this. There definitely is a bit of spice, but there's not too much. As you would probably know, I'm not a huge fan of spice in books. It's not that I don't like spice. I definitely like spice in books. I just don't like when it feels like the spice takes over the book when it finally happens and finally occurs. There's been so many books that I have read when the two characters finally get together and spice starts happening within the book, and then it feels like the entire rest of the book is just spice. I don't like that, because I am interested in the plot and what's going on and what's happening more so than I'm interested in the spice. So I hope that makes sense. I hope that gives a better explanation of my take on spice in books. I don't mind it being in there, but it has to be done in a way that doesn't take away from the story and doesn't make the entire story about the two characters having some spicy time together. I enjoyed it a lot more than I thought I would, and I'm quite impressed with this, actually. My expectations have been exceeded with this. This is the first book in the series. I'm pretty sure it's called the Four Winds series, and it follows the north, south, east, west, etc, etc. Oh, I will say also it sets up for the next book really, really well, because there is a character in here that will be in the next book, and it does set that up really nicely. I don't know if I will read on in the series. We'll have to wait and see how I feel, but 3.25 stars. I enjoyed it a lot more than what I thought I would. And now it is time to move on to The Final Empire, Mistborn Book 1. This is basically a video of me starting new series, and I really don't want to be starting new series. I just complained the other day about how many series I'm in the middle of, or how many series I start and never finish, because I just never get around to finishing them. But this is the highest rated, so I'm going to go with the rules of the video and read The Final Empire by Brandon Sanderson. I'm so excited to jump into this. I never hear anything but good things about this. Obviously, that's why it's the highest rated. I'm very excited, and I actually have no idea about the story of this. I only know that the magic system has something to do with metal. That's all I know. Literally all I know. So I'm intrigued. I'm excited to get into this. Hopefully, maybe we get a 5-star. That would be fantastic. I don't think I've had any 5 stars this year so far. Let's dive in. We're just at the park having a play on the playground, and I thought that I would give you a book update, but I actually forgot to bring my book with me so I can show you where I'm at. Anyway, I have been listening to a little bit of the audiobook and then reading it as well, and I have just gotten up to chapter 13. I can't even tell you what page that is. I'm on chapter 13, which is a little bit of the way into part 2 of the book. So far, I'm really, really liking it. I feel like if I get really, really invested and really into it and read the series, that it could potentially be like one of my all-time favorite series. Like, it is really well written, really well structured and thought out, and so intricate but easy to digest and understand. I love the magic system. I'm obsessed with it. I might try this update again at a later time. Hopefully it's not too loud and you can actually hear me. But I've just come outside and sat on the step with the dog because I'm trying to wake myself up. I feel absolutely exhausted today. Just so tired and exhausted. I just want to lay down and go to sleep. Ivy has just gone down for a nap. It is 2:30 in the afternoon. I really need to do some work, but I'm just so feeling very drained. I have been moving stuff around in my office. I've changed the position of where my bookshelves sit. I feel like I'm nesting a little bit. I'm currently like 26 weeks pregnant, and I feel like I'm nesting a little bit, like I'm moving things around and I'm looking for places for stuff to make the house function a bit better. So I'm moving things around in the office because that's actually our spare bedroom as well. So where my desk is and where my office space is also our spare bedroom. I'm also thinking that I will put the cot in there for the baby when they arrive. I think they'll be in the bassinet in our bedroom for a little while, and then hopefully you can move them to the cot in the spare bedroom. And then when they're a bit bigger, they can share the bedroom with Ivy because we only have a 3-bedroom. So we are looking to get the house extended and another bedroom added, but I'm not sure when that will be happening. So I'm trying to organize space for everybody now. I don't know if I got enough sleep last night. Anyways, I'm back to explain what I was talking about before with the Final Empire before Ivy slipped on the bench and hit her cheek. She's fine. She just has a tiny little bruise here. I think what I was talking about was the magic system when I last spoke. Hi, Morgan. Hi, Papa. Yeah, I think I was talking about the magic system, and what I was saying is like I just find it so cool and so unique that someone was able to think this up. Not even that, like it is quite complex, but it's very easy to understand, like the wording that he uses. I'm thinking specifically of like the wording that he uses to describe the magic system and how it works. The way it works, I'll give you like a brief description. I don't want to give any spoilers or anything away. I finally figured it out. So basically, they ingest different kinds of metal, like copper, brass, tin, different kinds of metal. They ingest those, and then when they're in the body's system, they can then burn them and use them for a specific power. So each different metal does a different thing. It can heighten your senses. It can make you really strong. It is very intricate, and there's a lot of metals that are involved. So you have to be kind of aware of like what she's burning at any given time. The wording makes it super easy to understand. He uses words like you burn the metal. So when it's in your system, you're burning it to use it up. So when something burns, it shrinks. So that makes sense. Like you're burning and using up that power. There's also this ability to push and pull. You can use a metal that is around you, and you can either push that metal and push yourself away from it, or you can pull the metal and pull yourself towards it. And then it also takes into account weight. So if you are heavier than that metal and you're pulling on it, the metal will come to you. But if the metal is heavier than you and you're pulling on it, it will pull you to the metal. Please ignore the flies. That is just so smart. I think that is so smart. It's so unique. Something that I have not read about before or even thought it was in the realm of things that people wrote about. Like, I just think that is so unique and so smart, but described in such an easy to read and easy to understand way. As I said before, I'm listening to this on audio and reading it physically as well. I am currently on page 232 on chapter 13. I'm loving it. I'm loving it. I'm loving the storyline. I thought going into this that it was going to be like a war setting and they were going to be fighting in a war, and it's more kind of like a heist. Like they're kind of spies and they're trying to take down the final empire, which is the city, like the government, the way that the city is run and who it is run by. And he's kind of a god, so very hard to get rid of. And yeah, they're kind of creating this team that all have different powers within this realm to take down the final empire. I'm very, very intrigued. I'm excited to see where it's going to go and what's going to happen. I love the female main character. I think she's very interesting. I'm also very intrigued about the male main character. His name is Kelsier. I'm very intrigued about him because he seems to have a lot of trauma going on, a lot of secrets happening. Like he's not giving a whole bunch away, but seems to know a lot. So I feel like there's something else going on with him as well. Really, really well done so far. I thought the start of it was fantastic, like super strong start, the setup of the book, the explanations of everything, getting the magic system started, and like the scenes that were what was being told and what you were going through really gave you a good depiction of the magic system and how it works and described it really, really well. So now I feel like I have a good understanding of what is going on and I'm very intrigued to see where it goes. Yeah, I'm super impressed with this. Super impressed with this. I'm hoping that it turns out to be like one of my all-time favorite series. Sorry about the dog. She's decided to move my camera. I just love when every little tiny detail is thought about and everything is all concise and in there and you're not left hanging with any sort of doubts about the story. Like it is all in there. He's giving you all the information. So I love that. So I'm going to keep reading. I'm hoping to finish this within the next couple of days because I'm actually going away on the weekend. I leave on Sunday, so I really want to get this done before I go away so that I can just take my Kindle and not take a book with me because it's just extra stuff that I don't need to be taking. Hopefully we can get this done in the next couple of days and then I can give you my final thoughts and feelings. I did it. I finally finished The Final Empire. It has actually been over a week since I finished reading this, but I haven't been away on holiday with my family, so I haven't had time to update you guys or sit down with my camera and talk about the books because I've just been enjoying family time. So now I finally get to sit down and talk with you about The Final Empire and the books that I have read in this reading vlog. Did you hear my voice crack? In this reading vlog. Final thoughts on The Final Empire. Absolutely loved it. Loved it. I am obsessed with the magic system in this. I'm so obsessed with it. It's really windy. I'm sorry if you can hear all the wind that's going on, but I think it might rain soon. Truly cannot get over how well structured the magic system in this is, how intricate it is written, and how so many factors and elements come into the magic system, but it is explained in a way that is so simple and easy to understand. So it's not confusing. It doesn't come across as confusing, but when you really think about it and sit back and be like, there's so much involved in this. Like there is a lot involved in this. I really, 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 really loved this. I really loved the story. I loved the character. I love the characters, the found family. I love the plot line of trying to figure out how to overthrow the final empire and the training scenes and learning the magic, discovering oneself and becoming a new person, like a new version of who you are because you've kind of leveled up in the world. This was so much fun. So much fun. I finally get the hype. I feel like I'm in on the joke. I'm in on the joke now. I get it. I finally get it. My rating for this, I'm going to give it 4.5 stars. I don't really know why I'm holding back on a 5-star. It's just not quite a 5-star for me. It wasn't missing anything. I don't actually know how to explain how I feel about that. Like it wasn't missing anything. I really loved it. It had everything. It had a teeny tiny little bit of romance going on, which I was loving. I was obsessed with the romance in this. You don't get much, but it was just enough. Yeah, like wasn't missing anything. I was questioning things. I was questioning characters. I was questioning morals. I was trying to dive in deeper and figure out what was going on. I am intrigued by a few characters. I'm like, what's going on? What's going on with them? Like trying to figure it out. So it has a lot of intrigue and I'm definitely invested in the story. I was invested the whole way through. It's just not a 5-star for me right now. Maybe if I reread it, like if I decided to reread it later on in the future, sometime down the track, if I reread it, I probably would rate it a 5-star. I don't know why I'm holding back. It kind of feels like I'm holding back from giving this a 5-star because I think the next books in the series will get better and everything will develop, and there's only 0.5 of a star to go up, so I'm trying to like leave a little bit of room for improvement. But this was so good. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I finally get it. I finally get the hype. I'm glad to be in on the joke, and yeah, I can't wait to read on in this series. I definitely have to do a vlog of continuing series I'm in the middle of, and like maybe we continue reading this because I definitely enjoyed it. I don't know if it's going to be one of those series where I actually like binge and read back to back to back, because the books feel long and heavy and it feels like I need a bit of a break in between books, but I definitely will be reading on in this series. I'm hooked on the magic system and hooked on the characters. I really want to know where they go and what happens to them. 4.5 stars for this. I don't know what's going on outside, if you can hear that. 4.5 stars, thoroughly enjoyed. Oh my god. Yeah, I'm lost for words, honestly. So that is it for this reading vlog. I don't have any more updates for you guys. This was reading the highest versus the lowest book on my physical TBR, and I got my TBR down to under 30 books in this vlog by reading these 2 books. I actually went out and bought a bunch of books, so now my TBR is back up to 30 plus books. I'll have to re-go through it all. This was such a good challenge. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I had such a good time. I gave The North Wind 3.25 stars, and then I gave The Final Empire 4.5 stars, as you would know. That is pretty much bang on the money for what they're averagely rated on Goodreads. I'm pretty much with the majority there. The North Wind's average rating is 3.57, I believe, on Goodreads, and then The Final Empire is 4.49 stars. So I'm pretty much right there in that zone with everybody else. This was just such a fun challenge. I thoroughly enjoyed putting myself in this position of reading the lowest versus the highest and seeing the outcome, seeing if I agree with the rating, seeing if I disagree, seeing if I really liked the books versus if I didn't like them. So this was a fun way to go. And now that The Final Empire is not the highest rated, I'm intrigued to find out which book is the highest rated on my TBR now. Yeah, we might do this again sometime. That would be fun. That is all I have for you guys today. If you have read either of these books, I would love to talk about it. I would love to discuss it. So leave a comment down below and let me know your thoughts on what you felt about these books and what you thought, and whether or not I should just dive straight into the second book in this series. I'm so intrigued to find out what's going on. I'm sorry it took me so long to finally wrap it all up and bring it all together, but you know, life happened and I went on holiday, so I would rather be present and enjoy my holiday than be rushing myself through this, I guess. I hope you enjoyed this vlog, and if you did, please give it a thumbs up. If you'd like to see more of me and hear my thoughts and feelings on future books that I'll be reading, please subscribe to my channel. I appreciate it so much. I have finally made it over the 200 mark on my subscribers list. I tell you, I opened my phone and I looked at my subscribers the other day and I got so excited that I had hit the 200 mark. It feels huge to me. I don't know why. I have been posting on my YouTube channel for over a year now, so it feels like a massive feat to hit 200 subscribers, even though in the grand scheme of things that probably doesn't seem like a lot. It feels like a lot to me, and I'm super grateful and super thankful. So if you'd like to see more of me and hear my thoughts and feelings on books that I'll be discussing in the future, please subscribe and join the little community that we have going. I hope we can do this or some type of reading vlog like this again soon. I'm planning things, I'm organizing things. It just takes a little bit of time to get sorted. I am currently 28 weeks pregnant, and I also have a 2.5-year-old toddler running around at my feet all day, every day. I'm doing my best. I am doing my best. Once again, thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have a wonderful rest of your week, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!